What's up guys, David Trebek here. Today I'm going to be reacting to another Radiohead album. Today I'm going to be reacting to Pablo Honey, Radiohead's debut album. And yes, I know I'm in a different setup once again. I'm actually just in my car because my laptop is getting fixed right now, so this is much easier filming it right here than filming it. I don't really have any other way to do it without my laptop, so I kind of have to do it in here. I do have a new audio setup as well because the last time I did a video or an album reaction in the car, the audio was absolutely terrible. So hopefully this mic's a little bit better, and I'm not going to have the bass up as high this time on this video. So hopefully the audio will be better in this one as well. So yeah, like I said, today we're reacting to Pablo Honey by Radiohead. This is probably one of their most, I would say, hated albums. And once again, it's their debut album. Obviously, I do know the song Creep off of it. I've heard that before. That's probably their biggest song, right? And I know the hardcore Radiohead fans don't necessarily like the song Creep. And I know they don't necessarily like this album either, but I'm going to come into this with an open mind and just give my thoughts on it. And yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. We might as well just hop right into it. Radiohead, Pablo Honey, let's go. First track is You. Okay, let's go. Also guitar rhythms, melodies, okay. This is like, yeah, okay. Oh. I will say Tom's vocals sound a lot different on this song so far compared to the rest of Radiohead's discography. It sounds a lot more like kind of radio friendly and kind of more mainstream, which I know that's one of the gripes people have with this album, is that when it came out, it wasn't that different compared to a lot of kind of rock music at the time, alternative rock. So yeah, just in terms of his voice and his vocal delivery, like it sounds a lot more like something you would hear on the radio, a lot more generic, and that's not necessarily bad. It's kind of an adjustment that I have to get used to going into this album. I like this little like, whoa. Frick, there's somebody walking right beside me, bro. It's so embarrassing. Oh, that was a weird vocal right there. Okay. Not terrible. Not terrible, but definitely not a standard radio track or Radiohead track that we're used to at this point. That was like a standard radio track. Yeah, there was just not that much interesting stuff going on. A lot of it felt pretty generic, and I felt like I knew what was going to come next. I was kind of impressed by some of those vocals there. Tom really, like, one of those screams in there. I've never heard Tom do a scream like that. So that was interesting to hear. I can't tell if I like it or if I don't yet. It's an interesting thing to point out that his vocals sound a lot different on this song so far. I will say also that the experience is a little bit different being in a car because I'm so used to just listening to Radiohead with headphones, and I feel like that song may be a little bit better with headphones as well. But this is what we got to do. This is what we got to deal with. Laptop getting fixed. I still got to make a video somehow, so we just got to do it. We got to do it. Even if it's not the best or most ideal setup. So yeah, You, once again, I didn't love it. It felt pretty basic, honestly. All right, we're going into Creep, which once again I've heard already. It's a little bit corny, just a little bit. That's a quality song. Yeah, it's a quality song. It's been a while since I actually listened to that song, and I actually enjoyed it. It took me a little bit to get into it, but I can see why like hardcore Radiohead fans do not like that song, and I can even see. I heard Tom York say that. Apparently, he said that he doesn't like this song either. I can see that, but it's also just like, yeah, the lyrics are a little bit corny, but it's also something a lot of people can relate to. Yeah, it's just a good, like, I don't know, it's just a good catchy song. like once again, the lyrics, they're not anything crazy. Some of the vocals in there, like it's just the slightest bit corny. Like it's a little bit corny, but if you just embrace it, it's like it's not that bad. And that honestly, like once again, it's been a while since I listened to it, and that like kind of that build at the end there where Tom was really going off with the vocals, going into his falsettos there, that was actually really beautiful. I really enjoyed that ending part there. But yeah, that was definitely better than the first track. So yeah, let's keep going. We got How Do You. Okay. Why did I say it like that? How do you? How do you? I don't know. Whoa. There's some of that Radiohead weirdness. What is that? Just like guitar feedback, I guess? Whoa. We got some harp. Whoa, that was okay. That's like, what the heck? Okay, at the beginning of that track, I was like, okay, just another generic, like, rock song here. But, like, that ending kind of tied it. Did it tie it all together though? I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, I would say I do not enjoy that track. There were some cool elements, like the ending was cool. There was some cool stuff going on, but it just felt like I don't know. It felt kind of out of place, and it felt like it didn't need to go there. And some of Tom's vocals in there were not necessarily great, but the instrumentals throughout this whole thing have been on point for what they're trying to do. Like, they're not trying to do the most experimental or like different sounding thing, but for what they're trying to do, like the drums are on point, the guitars are on point. My real problem with this album so far is the vocals, because these vocals just don't feel like Radiohead to me. This album so far feels like Radiohead making an album before they really knew what their sound was going to be, which probably is the case, because these vocals just, I don't know. I'm not like loving them. There were some on Creep, I enjoyed the vocals, but on the first track, You, and on this one, I just can't get into them really. Stop whispering. Bassline's nice. Ooh. Okay, Tom. I just wish this drum beat would do something different, you know? Okay, where are we going? It might have to change up a bit. Whoa, retardando right there? Dang, okay. There we go, Stop Whispering. Didn't catch many lyrics, but just the sound of it, I really enjoyed it. I thought we were going to transition into a little bit of a different sound, but we just kept going with that sound, but it was really satisfying, that build at the end there. And the vocals on that one were pretty nice as well. They weren't as bad as the previous tracks. That was probably one of the strongest tracks so far, so I definitely enjoyed it. Alright, Thinking About You. We got the reverby vocals. Oh, this is beautiful. Alright, my only problem with that track, once again, is the vocals. Loved the guitars on it. Loved that driving acoustic guitar that the whole song was built on. And when that higher end guitar came in there, it just filled it out really nicely. And so, yeah, I loved the instrumental. It's just the vocals. I feel like they could have been reworked a little bit. And I get this is the style of the time, and this is the kind of the sound that people were going for. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. Tom's vocals were just a little bit cringy in that one, and I hate using that word, but I mean, that's the term I would use, is cringy for the vocals in that one. And I get it is like it was a passionate and emotional performance, so you gotta give props for that, for him putting his emotion into it, but yeah, you can still do that without it coming across as kind of cringy, in my opinion, and that didn't really succeed at doing that. If the vocals were better, I would have enjoyed that track a lot more. That's pretty much my only really my only gripe with it, is the vocals. All right, let's keep going. Anyone Can Play Guitar. The slowdown again. The retardando again. This is like the most intriguing instrumental so far. Whoa. Oh, the fade out. Really? Yeah. That was not great. That was really not great. I didn't really enjoy that. I was pretty bored throughout the entire thing, and the only time that I was really... I mean, I was kind of liking it at first because I said this is like the most intriguing instrumental and thing, but it kind of got old really fast. And other than that, the only things that really stuck out to me were bad things. Some of those vocal kind of embellishments by Tom were not great. And that chorus wasn't really... I mean, it was just kind of boring as well. This just felt really mediocre for Radiohead. So far, this album just doesn't really feel like Radiohead, like what we know of Radiohead now. Obviously, I mean, they've developed and evolved and just changed a lot, obviously, since this album. But yeah, this doesn't even feel like Radiohead. Especially that song does not feel like Radiohead. All right, Ripcord. I mean, this sounds really similar to the last song, like just standard like guitars just playing in unison with his singing, and like just not that interesting of a drum beat, and it's just like, I don't know. It's nothing that really stands out in my opinion. I mean, there's like no... It just doesn't feel like Radiohead. I was bored throughout that entire track. It sounded very similar to the last song. And it just feels like a Walmart version of Radiohead. The Radiohead that we know and love, it just feels like a watered down... Not even watered down, just like a completely different version, bro. It's just like... I don't know. There's just not that much appealing about it. Like, yeah, technically... They're still talented musicians. They're still playing the music well, and Tom still has a pretty good voice. It's just the way they use these. Like Tom's, I don't know. There's nothing. They're not coming up with any really interesting melodies or any interesting rhythms, in my opinion. And I just feel like it's really predictable as well. So yeah, I didn't love that one either. Once again, I'm not like hating this album. It's just kind of boring. Surprise me. No. Oh, okay. There, they surprised me. I was not expecting this little switch up. Okay. Definitely the strongest track we've had in a little bit on this album. It was pretty similar sounding to the rest of the album, and that's pretty much my gripe with it. But I liked Tom's vocals on it. I thought he was a pretty passionate vocal performance, and it didn't come across as sounding cringy or any of that. It was a good vocal performance. It's just these these choruses and stuff. I feel like they would do a little bit more with it, or just something a little bit different, because I feel like I've heard that chorus like 5 times on this album already. Once again, not a bad track, but not anything that I would probably come back to. It's just kind of middle of the road. All right, prove yourself. You guys better prove yourself with this album. I mean, they don't need to prove themselves. They've proved themselves with freaking amazing albums after this, so. That's a long note. Hey, vocals are getting better. The further we go in this album, the vocals are definitely getting better. That note he held at the end there, crazy. But now it's just now it's flip-flop. Now I'm enjoying the vocals, and I'm not really enjoying the instrumentals. Now it's like, yeah, it's flip-flop now. I feel like I'm just used to with the Radiohead, these like interesting little melodies and rhythms and just weird stuff going on, and I'm just not getting any of it on this album. And I guess I've never really been the biggest fan of this sound, this like early 90s freaking just like generic rock, alt rock, whatever you want to call it, just this sound in general. like, do we have to? Does every song have to start like this? All the guitars coming in, same freaking boring. Oh, it's not exactly the same every time, but just boring drums every single time. There's just nothing of interest going on, really. Like, none of it is bad. It's just really boring. It's really boring, bro. See, this is interesting right here. This is good right here. This is good. But it depends where it's gonna go from here. How much you want to bet all the guitars are gonna come back in, and it's gonna go back to that chorus? I don't really have much to say. More of the same. There's not that much interesting stuff going on. Like, I thought it was one, like I said, that weird little guitar like feedbacky little part. That was interesting, but I just knew what was coming next. They brought the drums back in, and they brought everything back in. Okay, before we go into the last track, another track that didn't do it for me, even like the slow burners, like that's supposed to be like an emotional, slow, just beautiful track, and it doesn't reach that level like we know Radiohead can do. It doesn't have that beauty, you know? It doesn't have the beauty. Alright, last track. This is already way more interesting. Whoa. Okay, don't ruin this. Don't ruin this. Nice groove to this one. Oh, yes. I feel like they used that in OK Computer. That little or whatever. Production on this is... I love the mixing on this, too. I want to go back to that groove at the beginning. That was so nice. That drum fill. This is good. This is really good. Holy. Woo! Love this wall of sound right here. This is beautiful. Building the tension here. Ooh, that was cool. What a great ender, bro. Blowout. I'm gonna turn this car off so that I don't waste as much gas. Why did you turn on? Whatever. Blowout. That was actually a really good ender. I feel like the production on this album has been a bit iffy, and like the mixing especially, it's just felt a really like muddy, and I haven't been able to pick out like separate parts that well. But with that one, I loved the production on that. It went through a bunch of different phases and changes as well. The beginning there was beautiful with that nice little groovy section. All the guitars came in on that second section, and then everything cut out once again, and then went into this build where you just reach this wall of sound that's really satisfying at the end there. I feel like that was a really satisfying, complete song that went through a bunch of different changes, but yet it felt all really cohesive as well. That was a strong ender. I have to admit, a really strong ender to an album that was definitely not bad, but definitely not great either. If that last song there wasn't as if it wasn't like a standout like that one, this album really would have just, I don't know, I would have felt really indifferent towards it. But I mean, I still kind of do, but that last track saved it a little bit. But a lot of them, once again, just really uninteresting sounds and instrumentals and rhythms and melodies and everything. Just little production elements that were really uninteresting, and even like just the structure of the songs in general. It was just felt really formulaic for most of the tracks. And Tom's vocals, once again, I feel like this is Tom's worst vocal performance on an album. I mean, he did try quite a bit. He put a lot of emotion into a lot of these performances, but a lot of them I don't think came out as well as he intended them to. A lot of them came out or came across as kind of cringy, in my opinion. And Yeah, there definitely was some standout tracks like Creep, the last one, and then the other one was Stop Whispering as well. But pretty much everything else was, I mean, there were some bad parts to it, but everything else was just kind of average and uninteresting. So, yeah, not the greatest album. Definitely Radiohead's worst album, in my opinion. So far, at least, I still have to check out the Bends, but I doubt that the Bends will be worse than this. But that's crazy to say, because considering off of one listen so far that I think this is Radiohead's worst album, it's still pretty good for a band's worst album. So that just shows how great Radiohead is. And once again, this album just didn't really feel like the Radiohead that we know and love. It didn't have much, I mean, that last track kind of did, but other than that, it didn't really have like those experimental, just, I don't know. It didn't have that Radiohead flavor, if you know what I'm saying. And yeah, I think that's it. Pablo Honey, pretty uninteresting for most of it, but once again, there are some standouts. I'm going to be doing the Bends next. Hopefully I have my laptop back by then and I can be back in my normal setup, because once again, this setup, I feel like it might not have done this album full justice, because I am used to listening to Radiohead with headphones on, and it kind of allows for a more immersive experience. So hopefully I'll have my laptop by then when we do the Bends. Super excited to do that. That'll be the last Radiohead album that I have to listen to. I am going to be doing a Radiohead album tier list or album ranking or whatever. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun as well. I don't know if I'm going to check out their B-sides. You guys told me to in the comments down below. I don't know if I want to. I'll probably check them out on my own time. I just don't know if I'm going to do a video about them. So yeah, I think that's it. Radiohead, Pablo Honey, not the greatest thing I've ever heard. Pretty uninteresting in general, and it really lacks that kind of Radiohead flavor that I'm used to. Bye.